Wassail Beautiful People. So, how did you get on? Oh, you've had so many brilliant ideas. I've really enjoyed reading them, and I can't tell you how hard it was not replying and trying to lead you to where I was being guided by spirit as the solution. I need I need to just begin clearing my throat because I need to say I set you the two hardest ones because they were not normal runes, it turned out. Oh, there's my fly. As soon as I'm on the subject of runes, the flies are back. So, this is a video to explain what I want to say what went wrong. I've been working with these energies and a third, which I'll show you, for 12 hours and 12 hours and 12 hours. I've just been digging in and trying to get through the message. And there was a lot of gut instinct, and there was a lot of having to understand that there's so many layers to these cards. I was having a phone chat with Rob the other day, hey Norseman, and the layering is so incredible that's coming from these messages as we're all exploring them for you, and it is exciting. So, what was the problem with these two cards is they're time runes. I didn't I didn't even know they existed. So you can't fully blame me for not knowing that there are time runes, but it's time to turn back time. So let's have the bell. Welcome to the space out of time. So, why was there time? Why are there time runes? So, basically, the original Elder Thuthark, that was 24, grew in the Anglo-Saxon areas into 33, possibly more. And then the Old Norse reduced them down to just 16, sort of in Scandinavian areas, particularly Sweden. And it linked all across. You have to kind of look at the geography of things and see how that affects all those areas from Germany, Poland, up into Estonia. All of those areas, because they're just a body of water between them, a lagur that flows. So there's a beautiful rune that we can, I'll try and remember to put a link in, but it's an Estonian calendar that's written in the runic language, and it's in the Vatican. And this was part of what helped to crack this time code part. So when they reduced the younger Thuthark down to 16 in order to write time, and it's interesting that the time was done in two lines. And back in those days, there wasn't the four seasons. There was really just the notion of summer and winter around the two solstices. So the June solstice and the December solstice. And we're about to hit that. So I feel like we're on the right pathway. We're dealing with the energies of how the earth shifts and how the sun and the moon with the eclipse works with the earth to create different frequencies. So this younger Thuthark has only 16 letters, and there's a Metonic calendar that started in Babylonia and is also the current Jewish calendar for calculating, but it works on a 19-year moon cycle rather than the solar cycles that we're on. And so there's a whole series where you get years that are constructed of 12 moons, and you get some that are connected with 13 moons. And I've talked about that before, 13 frequency being that magical energy of women or the creating life. I mean, I don't just mean women, I mean in the natural world, but the female of the species creating life. And so these two runes that we showed together are part of the missing runes. There's also the one that was emotional bleed. They're numbers 17, 18 and 19, and they help them to mark festivals, moments, to give a sense of the pace and the flow of time. And so actually, in their simplest form, this one is 12 static. It's 12 frequency. We've talked about 12 frequency being that rigidity, that inability to move. But I don't want to talk about that one yet. I put that just here. We've got the cards for it. I want to talk about the one we worked on, which is called Flirsa or Flow. So it's very much an FL. This is 13 frequency. So what were the clues that we had? My initial instinct was brooch. I saw this as a brooch pin. We had kilt. It's that sense of, if we take this, I want to explain something, because I also got this notion of the hook and eye here that was coming through, and the gut instinct, something about the sacral chakra in transformation. Now, there are old Norse Viking brooches that are called penannular. It's a little bit like the annular solar eclipse that we've just gone through, which is where the moon doesn't quite cover the sun and you get that ring. It's an annular eclipse. Penannular is when there's a gap. And in Norse, they have these wonderful brooches that are a circle, but with a gap. And then they have a really long pin through them. And the pin's root is movable. So you can put the pin on, put the fabric through, and then you turn the circle and it locks the pin on. The only thing that's very odd about them, that I was talking to a friend who has one about, she said that the pin has a tendency, because it's so long, to dig in. And I have read that they believe that they were always worn with the pin pointing upwards. So I guess then if you bent down, it's less likely to go into you and sit above. So that's just a little fashion tip if you've got a penannular brooch on. But it was, I was really being drawn to the prick, the bleeding, the notion of letting of blood. And I talked about the emotional bleed. It's not about an emotional bleed as such. It's a third eye vision. Now, the idea is your third eye vision, all of your chakras develop over time. As a small baby, you just have your root chakra. And then at 2 or 3, you get an awareness that there's more in the world around you. So your sacral chakra comes online. At 7 or 8, your solar plexus comes online. And then when you hit puberty, this chakra and the upper chakras start to resonate. They're already there. They're not missing. They just don't connect and spin as well. And we're connecting into an energy of transformation. I'm being drawn because they're pulling me at different things. Expect powerful change. This is a moment. This card, this flow is a powerful changing moment. And there is this sense of the sacral, or the body, the whole, being pierced by a new energy. Again, the needles, pins, things being drawn in or being drawn towards. You know, this very much, they're just saying, point to the blood. This is about blood, this energy. Transformation of something that was a blockage, but not a blockage that was of your own physical manifestation, but it was a restriction until the moment of flow, until the Flirsa is ready to happen. And so what is this Flirsa? It's sorry, I'm just being drawn to something. They want to say, while we're talking about the change, the something new that comes in, the letter, the document, the diploma, the sort of the growing up energy, achieving something. So what is this about? It's about the notion of moving through a rite of passage for female girls moving into womanhood, becoming an adult. It's the energy of growing up, and it's the energy of first blood, the first menstrual cycle that in those days took the child into the energy of woman. So that's what this card is really talking about. It's that notion of changing frequency. Why are they drawing me to something here? Hang on. What are you telling me? I don't even remember that number being there. Why are you showing me a 19? Oh, I know why. They were showing me it because, sorry, I forgot. I had to dig into some other cards and I connected in with the Heart of Sky and eternity, this eternal cycle. Sorry, it's just I'd forgotten entirely I did that because I've been in a bit of a trance, and it's been very difficult to come out of the channeling of the runes energy and settle into talking to you. So today I'm banning myself from doing any rune work so that I can make some videos. So the Heart of the Sky is the galactic center through which our consciousness comes in. And so it was, again, all of the cards that came out the second time were drawing me further away from the brooch, although the brooch is the thing that pricks blood. It's that sense of bloodletting, flowing with blood. It's that sense of growing up. It's the female rite of passage. And actually, I think that that's a really beautiful message that even I was not aware of is missing from the messages in a tarot deck. It's a really important frequency. So let's move on from that. What I need to do is I need to just bring up the photograph that I did for 12 so that I can show you which cards. So just give me a second. I need to turn the brightness up. It's up as far as it can go, but it's very dark in the sunshine. Right, so what's the one? There's one of them that's repeated. Dove is repeated in this one, which was showing me the connection with changes, the energy of 12 to 13 moons. I think on this one, yeah, I've got the metonic cycles written down for this one to help us. Let's just change all of the cards. I'll keep Flurser out because I think we might be referring back to that. And now we just need to lay out the cards for static, structure, boundaries. Oh, see, what I want to say is this is very much Vanahamir. That's really important. The heaven of freedoms, the creativity, the energy of having no boundaries. This is static. This is Odin, Asgard. This is a different energy. So what else do we have here? Oh, and it came up. Asgard came up. That was part of what was helping me to see the truth behind this. And also two of the cards came out, which were the eight of swords and the six of wands. They both came out this way up, and they just said there is a blockage. There is, and this one is the 6 restrictive poles. A lot of you said it's a connection between heaven and earth, as above, so below, which in many ways it is a connection because we live. You know, this is the energy of heaven and earth and bringing it together, because it's really interesting. If you look, when you look at this one, it's the same dropping through, but the two parts of the moon have been pushed past each other and they're locking in to create a kind of, not a jail, but like an iron barrier that stops the flow. And there's nothing wrong with static. Static is a moment in which we look at fixed frequencies. So this was the interference, the blockage, the energy that creates that stillness. And then we have, this is quite funny. We have the Queen of Fire, passions, fluidity, movement, flow, new ideas. And she's holding down the cheetah. She's holding down. So it's almost like saying, because everything comes from the heart of the sky in terms of our consciousness, it's like this may be seen as an Odin masculine energy, but it's being controlled by divine femininity. She's holding structure down so that we have time to learn something about the rigidity within ourselves. So we also have the Princess of Discs and the tree. So again, we've got that reference to Yggdrasil energy, but static Yggdrasil energy. It's when Yggdrasil cannot flow, and we have Bjarken, which is the rebirth leading us from Tvelf to Flörsa. So it's really wonderful the way it's showing us two different things. So this is the right, as I said before, of passage between a child, a female, a girl, into womanhood, but it's also the energy of creativity that's available to everybody. So it's the flow of the Yggdrasil. So at the moment, there's all, again, you've got this sense of the female frequency of our divine feminine consciousness, our creativity, being plugged in rigidly and stuck. She has a look on her face of stillness. She has very much a Valkyrie energy about her. I want to say very much the Norns. It's that jabbing in of the needles, and the whole world being static. All the birds and trees in the Yggdrasil are held, but it's still got this notion of bringing a newness in. It's almost saying it's a moment to identify what is too fixed in our lives and what needs to flow. It's pointing us in that direction. So what else do we have? Be awakened to fixed staticness. And then we had the angel. Actually, it's that way. It's like in this energy, it's when we get stuck in something and we call for assistance, and there is this sort of energy of the other realm that's there, but the other realm is just holding frequency open. It's the Bilros, the rainbow bridge, is not being offered to you because it can't flow through years of static 12. They're years for making corrections, and we're in a static 12 now. So let me just tell you, in the metonic cycles, years 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 12, 13, 15 and 18, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You get those there all years with Tvelf. The other years are the 13 frequency. And there is a pattern, but there's not a pattern that we would ordinarily observe. So we're currently in year 5 and we're about to go into year 6, I believe, from what I was tracking down. So this Bilros, the Bifrost rainbow bridge, is kind of not able to allow you to flow properly. And the energy that came from these two was this need that we have where we call for heavenly assistance, for godly assistance, for something to come in and awaken us. But they kept saying to me, the true awakening is yourself. You have to lead your own path. That's the point of, it's not like saying at this point in time, whenever we're in a year of 12, there's no assistance. The assistance is there, but you can't just go, please help me. You have to help yourself to find the frequency to help others. So, and it's trying to say it's an energy in which like depressions come up stronger. There are years in which you feel more depressed and you doubt yourself. You are good enough. It's a full moon in Virgo. Because it is about full moons. These energies are about counting of the full moons. And it was done in a very different way. The first moon you count is the first full moon after the December solstice, is the first moon of the year, and you count all the way through how many fit into that phase. So we have Asgard. It is a frequency of prosperity. It's a frequency when we accumulate, and it's going on a journey. It's telling me that thing, but there's something, if you look at the way these two cards join up, they don't. It's a disjointed journey of a kind of selfish accumulation, and it hooks back on itself, because we've got Bjarkan and Raid, and the energies here kind of, you get this flow across. It comes up and it runs down, but it stops the rebirth. The rebirth tends to happen much more naturally in years of 13, but it's not saying they don't happen in 12. It's just that they have a different connection. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. It's all still very much an energy in progress. They took me longer than any of the other runes to crack into, because they're so multi-layered, and I will explain the layers much better. I'm trying to keep the video short because it's already 21:12. Hey, that came up on the back of the thing. Where is it? 21:12, 21:12, L'Eternité, and there was something else that was a 12. Oh, I can't see where it is. Doesn't matter. Mirroring. Oh no, hang on. Sorry, I have to just pause. Hello, I'm really sorry, Helen. I'm in the middle of making a video and I can't stop, so I'll call you back in a minute. All right? All right. All right. See you in a sec. I'll call you in a bit. So, sorry about that. It's my beautiful friend Helen. Hello, Helen. I'll call you in a minute. That's my own fault for not turning the camera off. So allowing another frequency to come through. So where do we need to go? I do need to go to the phone, and we need to look at the missing energy. I worked yesterday also on the void, which is a seed shape, a little diamond, and I then connected with the one that's the diamond with a hole, with a line coming down, and this one is the male rite of passage. So I just thought I'd quickly walk us through the male rite of passage. So for that, I need to lay out some different cards and show you how that one works. Got to talk less, I've got to talk less, I've got to talk less. So, I'm missing a card because there was a repeat card. It's interesting how you get the physical Nine of Swords, the divine moment of editing out childhood almost, and it came up in both readings. Obviously the boys are not actually having a menstrual cycle, but there's a ritual of hunting associated often, and bloodletting of something else, or a sacrifice. So it's very much about that motion of moving into adulthood that has some kind of energy of blood flow. I'm just putting these in the right order so that we can follow the frequencies. I'm still missing one. Who am I missing? Oh, Yggdrasil. Where's Tree gone? There we go. Yes. Right, so this one began with a sense of abundance being on offer. It's that energy again of 12 transforming to 13. It's almost like going from childhood into flow into adulthood is a promise, and it's got this frequency of the energy in reversal. It's not made its way into the right frequency visually in the card, but it's an exploration of all things within inside, the hidden realms, the darknesses that are approaching, the shadows that approach us as we move into adulthood, the shadows that shouldn't be there in childhood but often are, but exploring them to move something forwards. And then it had the frequency. I am doing this quickly because otherwise this video will never upload. I got the energy of Tyr because I didn't know this was at first the male rite of passage. I've already told you that's what it is, but it was talking about an exploration, a growth period of something waiting to come down. This is Tyr. This is often the representation of Fenrir as the moon. Tyr gives his hand to Fenrir in order to gain trust. It's very much an energy of trusting your body as it grows and it moves. And then it came with Tiwaz. Tiwaz is Tyr. That's the first letter of Tyr's name. This is spiritual warrior. This is to smelt something with fire to form a transformation. And it was followed by the sun. So what do we have here? We have the moon and the sun, and we know what that means. That means the eclipse tunnels. That means the energies that take place between the sun and the moon in the Janus Geminis, as we call it. It's the idea of a passageway, a rite of passage was coming through the card. So I was very much drawn to that. And then again, as I say, we have 9-9. This is fascinating. Whenever I see two cards of 9, they're two divine frequencies that are saying you're on 99. You're 1 point away from a completion, which is that wonderful number 1 that brings in something new. Rider is card 1 in the Lenormand deck, and it's about a knight riding in. And here's what became interesting. The name that I found for this is Knartha. Knartha is the Old English word for a young man, for a youth, but male, and it's the word that became knave, which is in our thing. Knave and also knight have all got their roots in Knartha. So it's about the boy's rite of passage being about learning to be some kind of warrior, because, you know, things were gendered differently back in the days, but these energies are within us all. You know, this is a card now that is spiritual warrior. So this rite of passage that the boys go to is a rite of passage that girls need to go to, and the other way around. There's energies and messages within both of the genders' rites of passage, but the cards are trying to show me how these frequencies are linked to energies of old. We have the card of juvenile manifestation, fire, sun, throwing your lot at something new. It's a wonderful fiery energy. And then we had fish, and fish was talking to me about the idea that this juvenile manifestation energy is about learning quality over quantity. It's almost saying that you're in your second phase, you're moving on from childhood to adulthood, but it's also saying that at one point you were the big fish in a small pond in your childhood, because everything was about yourself and your own ego and your own desires, and how as you move forwards you become a small fish in a bigger ocean. And so there's very much that transformative energy of the environment around you. And it kept saying, focus on the bigger picture. See outside the window of your own childhood into a new environment and become a man. It's so beautiful when the cards speak in their correct way. Anyway, so, oh, sorry, and I missed out the fact that you're talking about, it's referencing back to Tvelf, breaking free of the confines of your childhood. So that's how we worked on those ones. I'm going to go off now for a long walk and see if we can't find somewhere, because I need to talk to you all about the solstice, because there's some amazing stuff going on. But anyway, let's get this one up. I'm going to leave this uploading while I go out. So, Wassail Beautiful People, and keep thinking about the runes. Oh, I was going to give you a new rune. I'll give you the new rune at the beginning of the next message, so that you can see how deep you need to go to channel and find what is instinctively behind the messages. Okay, anyway, Wassail.